Part of what I think they're probably thinking of here is that epidemiologically, the prevalence of Alzheimer's, well, the prevalence of cognitive impairment doubles about every 5 years from 60 on out. It's less clear what's going on with the incidence of new severe impairment, but the prevalence keeps doubling. So at 80, you probably got 25% of the population anyway is 85. About 80, 85, 20, 25% of the population is in the demented range, and then so by 90, you probably figure like 50%. You get up to 100, you start thinking that maybe 20, 30% of the population is not cognitively impaired. So I think that's probably what they're thinking is. Although they may have underestimated 100 plus over the line. I mean, it's a conceptual diagram.
Because doesn't this just show the range? It doesn't actually show the distribution of how many people are.
Well, this is just conceptual anyway. They're just kind of trying to say what they think is possible, and to kind of show the interplay between possible mobility within this zone and the fact that there is an upper limit which kind of they're not. The idea of the distributions could be like anywhere in each range.
Do you think the age of the researcher has anything to do with it? Because, I mean, as you age, I mean, of course, everything is shifted a little bit more, but it'd be kind of hard for them to sit there and be like, well, we're definitely declining, but I'm part of that decline. Yeah. So, I mean, the distribution, I mean, it seems like it has a pretty strong shift to where, I don't know how old the researchers are, but they're probably, let's say, the 40 and 70 range.
Herzog is probably about 55 to 60.
Seems to be pretty close to the apex.
Yeah,
see, I mean, that's a concern.
He wants to push it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Well, wouldn't that just validate his claims even more?
He tends to be a pessimist on the whole, actually. I don't know the other guy. I was trying to. I mean, you can make some guess. You've got their bios. Maybe that didn't get copied in the PDF. And here, actually, well, since you asked, rather than trying to remember. Herzog, by the way, is a USC grad. Instead of doing the one to shine. He got his PhD in '79. Kramer got his PhD in '84. Wilson, let's see, undergrad 1970, PhD 1976. Lindenberger 1990. So the German guy's in U.S. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, actually, my thought is as I was listening to you say that, is I think most researchers are really into the cognitive reserve. Education builds up cognitive reserve. I got a PhD and I have to do it.
And it's not going to happen to them. Is that what you said? Yeah. So that is that's weird.
I don't think it's the only thing that goes into the rationale.
Yeah.
But I do think that a lot of us with PhDs are sort of wedded to the education cognitive reserve
thing too.
Yeah. So here they're just, it's the same kind of thing, but they're just pointing out how different trajectories, presumably based on or at least influenced by cognitive enrichment factors in your life. So every A, B, C, and D here all start out in the same place at 2021, right? So A, goes on to graduate school, learns to play the violin, whatever, has a very cognitively enriched life, and so is always close to the upper bounds here, right? And also doesn't hit this threshold until about late 90s, right? Close to 100 years of age. So, now, this is a problem I've always had with the threshold idea, is somewhere around here to here, don't you think A knows something's going on and is no longer able to do things that he or she was able to do back here?
And that's got to be a pretty steep drop in function.
Well, one of the things that they are, in fact, well,
isn't it that it becomes much more selective of what they like and what they don't like, and then that level of compensation?
Yeah, but the choice is not up to you, is it? Now, I mean, my point is just, and I've seen some of this in people that I've worked with clinically, is if you're 3 standard deviations above the norm and you drop a couple, by this argument, you're not diminished.
And you're going to notice the deficit.
But it seems to me that you're diminished. I mean, if you drop a standard deviation or two, that's important. And the fact that we're giving people a break because their drops of 2 standard deviations still leave them relatively bright compared to the rest of the population. I mean, I've actually known people who wrestled with this as they were becoming progressively cognitively impaired from a very high point, and they've got everybody around them telling them, you're still okay, you're still normal, you know, it's not dementia, nothing to worry about. And they know that they used to be able to do, you know, differential calculus in their head. They used to be able to play chess, and that they can't do those things anymore. And they see decline, and nobody's buying it.
But is it also something that they're not constantly practicing? That's
They're
my
not
question.
the individuals I'm thinking about it, they're not practicing it because they can't. They're people who really wanted to do it, put effort for a while and keep trying to keep it up, and it's gone. But they're still very bright people. I mean, they're not. And then they're average people, and then later not so much.
Have people or have researchers ever decided to study self-efficacy and people's perception of how well they do and how that plays a part in this?
Yeah, and these guys give the controlled self-efficacy literature a pretty hard time. The other people, Margie Lockman does work on that. Tom Hess has done some stuff with efficacy and stereotype threats in older adults and stuff. So then you got, at the other end of this, you've got poor D, who I guess, graduated from college and decided to pursue life as a couch potato, drinking beer and watching daytime television.
Yeah.
Okay,
Down the two.
Pretty strict philosophy there.
And then you've got your B and C, you're kind of pursuing maybe a little bit of a mediocre kind of range out here to about 70, I guess. And then, C sort of wakes up somewhere in here and says, well, maybe I could do a little bit more of this off, and sort of pushes it out for a few years. And B just kind of, higher than D, but it kind of keeps on going down. But they all hit the functional threshold average mark here, different points. So this is kind of their image of how enrichment would work. Is that it can push you around inside the zone, either up or down, or you can wander around a little bit in the murky middle. As Joseph Heller says in Catch-22, some people are born to mediocrity, others strive for mediocrity, and still others have mediocrity thrust upon them. And then, or you can just throw it all down the tubes. But you can also, besides pushing it around in here, it does also influence the age at which you hit this functional threshold. And so you can buy yourself some room chronologically by a few years.